What is existentialism? Well, it is a philosophical theory that asks questions related to the meaning, purpose, and value of the human existence. And not only do I consider this philosophy to amalgamate perfectly with fictional storytelling, but I believe it's used more commonly than people give it credit for. So yeah, that's basically why I want to talk about Cowboy Bebop, which I consider to be the greatest show ever made and a perfect representation of existential themes in fiction. Cowboy Bebop is a jack of all trades in terms of crafting a perfect show. You have amazing characters, fantastic world building, a soundtrack that was just so. The animation is absolutely stunning. It only goes for 26 episodes, which keeps it well paced. It's got a unique style that amalgamates genres such as space operas, westerns, and noir. It's got hilarious comedy.
You sing off key.
Awesome fight scenes, shootouts, car chases, but in space. And every episode contains a unique story without falling short on character development. But best of all, it has complex themes. It's nothing short of a masterpiece. Set in a dystopian future where human life is expanded throughout the entire solar system, Spike Spiegel, a former hitman for the Red Dragon crime syndicate, is trying to leave his past behind him and spends his days as a space bounty hunter alongside Jet Black, Faye Valentine, and Edward. I am not going to say her last name because it would be an entire novel. Oh yeah, and there's also a dog that's secretly a genius. None of these characters really have an exact destination. Their goals are as simple as collect enough bounties so they can afford something to eat. Their goal is to keep surviving and nothing more. Spike Spiegel, alongside his former friend and partner in crime Vicious, were the syndicate's two greatest assassins. However, all that began to change when a triangle was formed between Spike, Vicious, and Julia, another assassin in the syndicate, as well as Vicious's romantic partner. One day after a near-death experience, Spike collapsed outside Julia's apartment, to which she ended up nursing him back to a healthy state. That night started a dangerous affair that led to Spike wanting to abandon the syndicate with Julia, to which Vicious ended up discovering and in return attempted to have the two killed, which led to Spike having to fake his own death and separate from Julia. You see, Spike is someone who, despite wanting to leave his past behind, just can't let go of it, and is always seeing the past through his left cybernetic eye. Jet Black, the former detective known as the Black Dog, who was in a relationship with a woman named Alyssa, came home to find nothing but a farewell note and a pocket watch. Jet then began a dangerous investigation of a mafia crime syndicate that had brought corruption to the police force. Jet's colleague Fad, who was secretly working with this organization, ended up shooting Jet's left arm, practically destroying it. So Jet, after losing Alyssa and disgusted with the corruption in the police force, decided to leave his old life behind with a new mechanical arm and is now occupied as a bounty hunter. Faye Valentine was 20 years old when she and her parents were in an accident on a private spacecraft, leaving Faye with injuries so critical they couldn't be healed with conventional medicine. 54 years later, after being cryogenically frozen, Faye was cured, leaving her with a massive debt. Faye, however, suffered amnesia, and after meeting a so-called lawyer named Whitney Haggis, who said he'd help her get out of this situation, it turns out that Whitney isn't even a lawyer after all and was using Faye as someone he could give all his own debts to before faking his death. One debt plus a second debt turns into Faye spending the next few years on the run with a bounty on her head, making money through gambling and developing some serious trust issues. And as for Edward, her father accidentally left her at a daycare when she was young and spent a couple years in an orphanage until running away from that orphanage. Oh, and she's also a hacker. Look, the point is that all these characters have pasts that they can't let go of. Spike continues being hunted by the Red Dragon Syndicate, plus his inability to forget about Julia. Faye is desperate to find out who she really is and where she comes from. Even Jet, who almost seems like he's trying to stick it to the corrupt cops by becoming a bounty hunter, basically saying, yeah, suck it, I'm still gonna catch criminals my own way, you cop-ruptions, because corrupt cops, so instead of saying corrupt cops, I said, oh
God, that's good comedy.
These are characters who believe their past defines who they are, leaving no room for the present. They're lost souls only existing to exist until it's their time to bite the dust. It's even established throughout that Spike questions whether he's even alive or not, believing he died a long time ago in the Syndicate. That's why throughout the series we see Spike constantly getting into life or death situations hoping to find his answer. However, despite it taking a while to get to this point, these characters do bond over time. When Spike and Jet meet Faye, this basically sums up their interactions.
That a mugshot or your version of Picasso?
If anyone can catch him with that drawing, I'll pay you the bounty myself, Faye.
Fine, I'll just go catch him myself. You two can stay here and make your funny little jokes, ha ha.
So ends another episode of Wasting Time with Faye.
Then you have the scene when Faye discovers a videotape of herself from nearly a century ago.
Good morning. No, wait! Well, knowing me, I'm sure you're causing all kinds of trouble for lots of different people. I'm sorry, I don't mean to. But it's alright. That's part of life too, isn't it? You're not perfect. Do your best! Do your best!
I can't remember.
Don't you lose! Don't you lose! Me! Go me! Yay!
Spike, after trying to escape with Julia only for her to get smoked by the Red Dragon Syndicate, decides to finally face his past. In the last episode, his conversation with Jet involved the whole tiger-striped cat story, which was obviously a metaphor for Spike's fate, whilst eating bell peppers and beef, the thing both Spike and Jet were eating in the very first episode. As for Spike's conversation with Faye, Faye shuts Spike down after he reveals the fake eye secret, believing that there's no point in knowing anything about him now considering he won't be coming back. Then the scene ends with what I consider to be the greatest line I've ever heard in fiction.
Where are you going? What are you going to do? Just throw your life away like it was nothing?
I'm not going there to die. I'm going to find out if I'm really alive. I have to do it, Faye.
Spike leaves the Bebop crew one last time and finally faces the music, basically killing any Red Dragon member in his way as he makes his way to the top floor where Vicious awaits him. During Spike and Vicious's final duel, while bleeding out, Spike finishes Vicious off and exits the building. As he slowly walks down the stairs, clearly dying, he says one last word.
Bang.
So in his last moment, Spike had his answer, that he indeed was alive. We never know what happens to Jet and Faye after Spike's death, but the audience does know a few things. 1, the Bebop crew has now fallen apart, and 2, in his last moments, now that nothing is behind him, Spike was finally free.